are streaming. I hope we're live. Are we live yet? Trying to get live. There we go.
Yeah,
okay, we are live.
We're live.
All right, here we go. So, this is kind of an impromptu live stream that I wanted to do. I don't know how many of you guys are going to actually join us. I don't even know if this is actually live. I'm trying my best to sort this out because YouTube doesn't make it super easy to understand if things are live. It's live?
Yes.
Okay, we're live. All right,
Yes.
cool. This is actually live. So what I wanted to do was an impromptu kind of responding to comments on our Avengers reviews because I was seeing some of the same stuff and I thought, well, instead of like doing a whole video and editing it, I thought we could just do a live chat. And so I'm gonna, ACHARA has the comments that you guys are typing at us so she can like inject questions every now and then. But otherwise, we're gonna be pulling from the comments on the videos, which you guys can see right here in front of us. So this is, just so you all know, this is coming from the Infinity War spoiler review that we put out on Get Jaby. So here we go. This comes from Kaushal Joshi. Where was the scene with Hulk running along with everyone towards the action? So that, I was just for the trailer from what I understand. Like, they often do that actually nowadays where you'll get clips that are specifically made for the trailer. For those of you from India, if you saw the, what was the big trailer that we just did recently, Sanju? And there's all those clips that were stitched together for that trailer probably won't be in the movie. If they are in the movie, they're just right at the beginning. But it happens all the time where you'll see clips that are, you are typing hard and fast. like a
T-Rex.
So yeah, what I'm saying is that, you know, you'll often get clips that are made just for the trailer, just to, you know, almost like a, what do you call it? An item number.
Oh.
So, Sanskar Dikshit. Is Morai Garcia from John Campea channel? I don't know.
I don't know.
Aman Sandhu only felt sorry for Doctor Strange. All the characters only cared about saving their love interest sister and were like, fuck the universe and let Thanos get the stones. Only Doctor Strange saved the day by saving Tony Stark. No Tony, no Marvel. So a lot of people were asking why we didn't talk about Doctor Strange. So what happened was our conversation was actually like 40 minutes long just for the spoiler part. The non-spoiler part was also like 30 minutes. So we talked about the movie for like a good hour and a half plus. No, that's bad math, but you all know what I'm saying. And what happened was I figured, you know, Get Jaby's a smaller YouTube channel compared to the likes of like Real Rejects or Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckman, or Tyron Magnus. So I thought in order to get people's attention at all, we have to make that video shorter. And so that's why it was under 20 minutes long. And we did talk about Doctor Strange a little bit, but like we didn't really dive into it too much. And I think the primary reason why is because we were mostly going off of our emotional responses, like our deep emotional responses to everything. Like for instance, Spider-Man dying.
Yeah. Oh,
You know, like that's like
or T'Challa dying.
or T'Challa dying, or you know anything that was like heightened emotionally. That's what we chose to speak on the most. But like, I did neglect talking about Doctor Strange in depth in our review. Is there anything you wanted to say about Doctor Strange? Like he's one of my all-time favorites. Like that's my favorite, irrespective of whatever y'all think. That's my favorite Marvel movie right now. Is Doctor Strange, just because of the concepts that it plays with and all the things it does. And then after that would probably be Black Panther.
Yeah. Well, I think people were just expecting us to talk more about Benedict Cumberbatch's acting and stuff. And I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch was, you know, on top notch and top form as per usual.
Yeah.
And
he brought the Cumberbatch. I mean, he always brings the Cumberbatch.
Exactly.
In fact, there was a little moment where I felt like someone said somewhere, I forget who it was, but someone said somewhere that it felt like Robert Downey Jr. was kind of phoning it in. And I only felt that for one moment near the beginning of the movie when he first interacts with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Right.
No, it's right after that when Hulk shows up. And he goes, Banner? And the way he says it just felt so artificial for some reason. And I'm like, all right. Well, you know, I understand why people said that. But like, yeah, Cumberbatch, his acting was strong and the character was the most like Spock. He was like the most methodical. He's like, okay, this is how it has to be. This is the only logical path. And yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can really say about that.
Yeah. Well, I guess as a character, like who is it? Aman Sadhu said, you know, like, yeah, he was thinking of the big picture, and he always has been the guy that is the big picture guy. And I guess it helps when you can see the future. So,
right,
you know.
Yeah.
Oh, like you just have to trust that, you know, the ending being the way it was, him giving the Infinity Stone to Thanos was because he had seen all 1.4 million plus
14 million.
Sorry, yeah, that's a lot.
Or something like that.
Yeah, all those millions of possibilities, and then he knew that this was the only way to go.
Right. I will say this. I just remembered when Doctor Strange did the thing and then became like a million Doctor Stranges. I lost my shit in the theater. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like the concepts, the things that Doctor Strange does are things that I have been wanting to see in movies since I was a little kid. Things that I think are the coolest ever. And even his interactions with, someone said the name of that villain that I liked a lot, the worm. The guy with the mouth, the turtle mouth guy.
Oh yeah, I forget his name. I keep calling him Squidward because of the joke in the movie.
I forget the character's actual name, but someone bashed me in the comments telling me what it was. But like even their interactions was super cool. Like when he pinned Doctor Strange upside down against the brick wall, like all that stuff was awesome to me. Okay, so Praveen TH, I watched the movie today, but I'm confused about the ending. Half the superheroes died, but how? I think Doctor Strange is responsible for this. Can someone explain about the ending? I'm sure second part will be up soon. I'm sure Doctor Strange did something strange to defeat Thanos. So it was about, going deeper to move forward, that kind of thing. Like Doctor Strange, this has been explained in a million different places, but since the question's being asked here, Doctor Strange saw 14 million something, number, some variable number of all the different ways it can work out, and saw only one way to victory, and that way to victory included submitting. When he did, how he did, was the way to victory. That was the path that was necessary to take in order to beat Thanos. And so the idea is they'll beat Thanos in the latter half.
Jeez. I don't think my heart could take it if they don't.
I don't know what this is, 529. It's a reference to the part of the video, but I'm not going to jive. Dive. I was trying to say jump or dive. Dive into that. Uma Venugopal. The character did not die. They disintegrated. They became ash dust, not luck vision. But I'm sure when they get back the stones or create new ones and give Iron Man the stones, Strange will reverse the whole thing to bring back, or so I hope. Yeah, that's what everyone is assuming at this point, because they established that rule with Thanos turning back time to grab the stone. So in theory, if they can get the stones, if they can acquire it from Thanos, from his busted glove.
Yeah.
If they can acquire it, then in theory they can go all the way back to when Loki got killed, or before that ship got blown up.
And they better have a really good plan to kill him then, because he's still super powerful even with two stones.
They managed to get me emotionally, even using the concept that I generally don't like. I generally don't like the idea of being able to turn back time. I think that was one of my big issues with Harry Potter. Was when Hermione had the
thing about I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, where she could turn back time, and I was like, the moment you introduce that, it kind of breaks everything for me. But they managed to do it in such a way here because it's broken up into two films where it still was emotionally effective, and it's this whole journey to get things back in order. I don't know, for some reason that works a little bit better for me, but typically I don't like that where you can just undo things with a flip of the switch.
Yeah.
So how is Tony and others able to breathe on Titan? I thought about that, but that for me was refrigerator logic. I was just like, who knows? Like I could think about
Same
that.
Atmosphere.
Yeah,
you just have to suspend your disbelief at that point.
There are certain assumptions you can make. That being, if something is in the Goldilocks zone of a galaxy, meaning like not too hot, not too hot, not too cold, but just right in the middle between like the sun and the rest of space, then the temperatures are likely to be, habitable. Is that the word? Habitable?
Yeah.
Yeah, for life to blossom, to grow and spring and, become things.
Oh, we have a super chat. Anubhav R says, "Hi guys, what is your expectations about Phase 2? And please tell me, who is your favorite superhero so far?"
I don't know my expectations for Phase 2, but my favorite superhero is Doctor Strange, which is ironic considering I didn't mention him very much at all in the review.
I think currently my favorite is Black Panther. And for Phase 2, it could go anywhere.
I read somewhere that they've already got 20 movies lined up.
What the hell?
After, they got Ant-Man. Starts off with Ant-Man, right?
Right.
I think. I'm not sure where the beginning of those 20 movies are, but they've already got 20 movies ready to, install over the next several years, and I believe them. So, what were we talking about? So in terms of like planets and whatnot, just to get like sciencey, it's a little odd that, you can have creatures like Thanos, who are huge, and that planet is
Yeah.
breathable for the likes of Tony Stark. You'd think that like gravity would be something that Tony would have to adapt to, like it would be too hard for him or too
Got
light.
super suit.
You know, like who knows? But so what I'm getting at is no, it's not realistic whatsoever. But it's a movie where you can turn back time with a glove. You can destroy half the life in the universe with a glove with stones from the beginning of the Big Bang. You're asking too many questions at that point. Like I did think about it for a second, but I let go right away. Okay, Loud Fun Strawberry. Please tell me how they're not really dead, because I can imagine Spidey dying. I am in denial. How can they be dead? And Gamora too. I mean, how? Also, Star-Lord fucked up big time. I agree with that. Everything could have been ended nice and pretty if he just held his anger. Yeah, but if he held his anger for one more minute, then you wouldn't have another movie. Like,
yeah, that's true. I mean, as people, as an audience, we're frustrated, but to tell the story, you kind of need to have that happen.
Yeah, like characters have to make mistakes, I guess, in order to keep your story moving forward. Because if Chris Pratt didn't make if Star-Lord didn't make the mistake he did there, the movie would have just ended right there, potentially, unless it became this whole adventure of what's the Thanos getting his glove back from them. But that would have been, I mean, it's fine the way it went. I just think that they could have found a way to better design Chris Pratt's character in that film to have him be less annoying. Because he just was constantly in the way, and he didn't have an arc. Like, he just got more in the way even after that. Like, he comes firing out of nowhere, and he's shooting at Thanos, and then Thanos disappears. And he's like, did we beat him? It's like, no, you fuck. Like, no. It was like really irritating. You know what I mean? And so now looking back at it, I almost feel bad for Chris Pratt, because it's like he had no responsibility over that. That was like, that's just how it was written.
Yeah.
You know?
Medasvi Kulshrestha says the gravity was light on Titan.
Was it?
I don't know.
I don't think it was.
According to him, it was.
Yeah, I don't think it was. But even no, no, because no. It's breaking my brain to think about that. So Loud Fun Strawberry. Oh, we already went over that. So Gamora too. Yeah. So they're not really. One theory I read was that they're all inside the stone.
Yeah.
The Soul Stone. I don't know if that makes any. I mean, the fact that these little tiny stones can do anything that they do, it's so anything's possible. They could be inside the stone. There was something like that in X-Men that I recall, where I saw it when it was a cartoon. I didn't read the comics, but like there was this like diamond-shaped thing that Xavier and this woman with like a fan head or fan haircut, where they were all trapped inside this diamond thing. It felt kind of like this, like very End of Days sort of thing. I forget the name of that episode. I think Phoenix was already born out of Jean Grey.
Okay.
So hopefully my lore is correct there. All good, but this comes from Ishan. All good, but I have one complaint. I think Captain America was less utilized in the movie, only at war. I don't know about that. I think Captain America was pretty utilized. I think that the person who wasn't utilized enough was Black Panther.
True. He just hosted them.
K9 Feline for...
Feline.
K9 Feline 2. Apparently I'm illiterate. Okay, 2 things to defend about Star-Lord here. I thought that was just one thing and he was trolling. Okay, by the time he and Gamora arrived, Thanos already had the Reality Stone. If Peter had fired sooner, it wouldn't have made any difference.
It would have, because he wouldn't have been able to get the Soul Stone.
Wait, what? Oh, no. What he's saying is that because Thanos already, because Thanos was aware of him.
Yeah, he had the Reality Stone, but the reason why Gamora was like, you have to kill me, is because she was the only one that knew the location of the Soul Stone.
What he's saying is if Star-Lord tried to fire any sooner, it wouldn't have mattered, because it would have turned into bubbles anyway.
Oh,
But I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that Thanos had the time to adjust reality because he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, because if he just fired, it would have been too quick, I think, and it would have killed her. Whereas he was standing there holding his gun for minutes going, I love you.
In that entire time, Thanos could have reconstructed the universe with his reality stone. So, 2, if I was mad at anybody in removing the gauntlet scene, I was mad at Mantis. He is in anguish. His heart is breaking. Mantis, shut up. And most people really would have reacted in the same way. Yeah, I'm not mad at Mantis. I think I actually liked her a lot more in this movie than I did in Guardians.
Well, she had a better role in this movie than she did in Guardians 2, I think.
So, Vivek Pandey, 17:28 minutes long and no mention of Doctor Strange. Yeah, that's more shocking than the movie's ending. I agree. That was pretty stupid on my part. Boomy Joshi, for me, this movie is introduction of Thanos. I disagree. Just joking.
Although I forget where I saw it, who it was in the comments, but they said please talk about Thanos' dialogues, like how good he was.
So I think that as a character, in terms of performance, let me start with this. In terms of establishing his history, in terms of establishing his reasoning, I thought that was awesome and spectacular because it was only like in Black Panther where we got that in a Marvel film, where you really got the nitty-gritty details of your villain's past and why they believe in what they believe, and you can actually understand why they believe what they believe, even if you disagree with what they believe in or their tactics, who they are. Even if you disagree with all that, you can understand them, and that's so crucial. That's important. And the most important thing is that they truly believe in their cause, and you can see that and you can taste it. That's what made Thanos great. But I don't know that I appreciated him as a villain more than Killmonger. Is that how you?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm wearing the shirt and I don't even know how. Okay, yeah. I think that Killmonger was a better, more emotional villain for me. Like when Thanos cried right before killing Gamora, I didn't feel his emotions. I could sense he was upset. Like I get it, but I didn't feel it as strong. And I don't know if that was maybe more on the part of the directors and them kind of rushing that sequence in order to constrain it to 2.5 hours. But I feel like that scene could have been another minute of her fighting for her life and him holding her there over the edge of the cliff.
Yeah.
And like trying to decide what he should do. And so I felt like we got shortchanged a little bit in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the emotion would have been more realistic. Like, it would have been a better payoff if we had seen him struggle, because it almost seemed too easy.
Yeah.
He was like, well, I know what I have to do. I only love one person, and that's Gamora, so peace.
Like, take the end of Black Panther, for instance, when, I know this is kind of comparing apples and oranges, but take the end of Black Panther when T'Challa kills Killmonger, right? And he goes, that was a good move. And it's like he dies for like 2 minutes of the movie, but you feel it. And he goes, I want to go the way my ancestors did. Mm-hmm. I forget the line. I'm not going to try even quoting it. But like that whole sequence was so emotional, right?
And then he says, he's like, oh wow, and he sees the
sunset. Yeah, exactly. There was a lot. There was a lot there.
Yeah. Whew.
And even thinking about it, talking about it, it can get you stirred up and emotional, right? And so I feel like that was kind of lacking here with Thanos. I don't know why exactly. I think it was just because it was a little rushed.
Yeah.
But like I said, they really built up his backstory very, very well. So that was cool. The acting was decent. I thought that Josh Brolin did a pretty good job, all things considered. It's like you acting with the, I don't think
all the little dots and the interviews with him going like, I think I was like cross-eyed because of the little camera right there.
For me, it does not compare to Andy Serkis. And that's obviously because, I mean, I wouldn't say it's because Andy Serkis has more experience. Andy Serkis has been dope doing that from the beginning with Smeagol, with Gollum. Like, he's always been good at that. And as for a trained actor who's been doing it for years to suddenly throw on this outfit and you're like having to pretend all this stuff for performance, it's like I can imagine how difficult that is. Cumberbatch managed to do a pretty good job in The Hobbit series as the dragon. But I still commend Josh Brolin for the performance he did. I think he still did a good job. There's a part of me that wonders what it would have been like if Thanos had a deeper voice, like a deeper resonance. Like, he's such a giant guy. Like, obviously his actions speak for themselves. His actions were giant in themselves, killing half a population wherever he went. But it was a little bit unexpected. It didn't subvert my expectations like the way Bane did. Like, nobody cared who I was until I put on the mask. Like, that was an exciting subversion of expectations, right? I don't know that I felt the same way here with Josh Brolin, but I still liked it.
I wasn't bothered by his voice. I mean, I thought it was fine. I think he has an interesting kind of gruff quality to his voice.
He does.
Which I like.
No, he does. I mean, he's certainly kind of how do I put it? Okay, I'm just going to stop my thoughts there and move on to the next question.
Oh, here's one from, I think someone else. Here we go. Bidjut Kalita. One theory is about alternate reality where the surviving Avengers get erased, and both this reality and that one tries to stop Thanos. Yeah, actually, I think Courtney mentioned something like that, where it is all about, like, different alternate realities and stuff, so... Yeah, that is a possibility for sure.
Just so you guys, just so I know, how is the stream looking right now? I know that there's going to be a delay in you guys responding to us. I just want to know if the quality is okay, because right now I'm being told that the stream quality is not great. It's okay. I just want to know if you guys are fine with it. Please let me know in the comments, because I'll try to like change the settings to improve it. Otherwise.
Oh, someone asked if you think we would ever get comic book hero movie fatigue, something along those lines. I've lost
You know, someone had talked about that like 5 years ago, and I think if we were gonna get comic book hero fatigue, we would have gotten it already. The reason why we don't have it is because Marvel has found a way to tell the stories in an effective way, even with even with a terrible villain sometimes. They manage to tell consistently exciting, good stories with characters that you like. Even if the comedy is a little bit too much for you sometimes, the stories still have heart. They still have a lot going on that you're like, okay, I can feel this. I can buy into this. Like, even Thor Ragnarok, the humor was a bit much for me sometimes, but I enjoyed everything going on. You know,
I can't imagine myself ever getting bored of comic book movies. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
But like.
No,
I just enjoy it so much, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, the stories and the way they do it. And regardless of whether it is Marvel or DC, I just love it.
Okay, so no one's talking about the quality. I guess stream is... Oh, here you go. Stream is okay. So, all right, cool.
Okay.
It looks fine, he says. Okay, cool. Thank you for letting us know. Blurry. It's blurry. It's good. Low volume.
Low volume.
Let me see if I can ump the volume a little bit. Hopefully I don't blow your ears out. Is the volume better now at all? Hopefully that's better now.
Okay.
Blah, 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 blah. Let me know if the volume is any better. I apologize for it sounding low. I will make other adjustments. If this is not good enough, just like keep repeating yourself in the comments if it's not good enough on the audio. Let me see if I can improve the stream quality real quick. I apologize for the hold up. Let me see. Output.
John Charles said, I would have liked to see Loki and Doctor Strange fighting together. Yeah, I was gutted that Loki got offed really soon.
I set the quality to 2000 bitrate. Hopefully that improves the quality a bit. It was at 2500 before, so I set it to 2000, so it's trying less hard. I have no control over this. We're paying like $100 a month for good internet, and like this shit still happens. So what can you do? But anyway.
Oh, here's a super chat question. Why do you think Strange gave up Time Stone? A, he cared for Tony, or B, because he planned according to the future he saw and it was the only way? I'm going with B.
Nick Hill Roshan, it's because he says it. He said this is the only way.
Yeah.
It was the future where they're victorious. So that's like where you can stay rest assured that it'll all work out.
It'll all work out, yeah.
What was I saying a second ago about? I guess I was talking about Thanos. Yeah, so, good villain. Okay. G Short Films. Why is Hulk in the trailer running with other Avengers Wakanda fight, but in the movie banner did not appear as Hulk? I think that was a budget thing. We talked about it at the beginning of this. If you want to DVR your way back to the beginning of this stream, that was one of the first questions that popped up. And so that's already answered. But one other thing that we kind of talked about in our review is that it's possible that they just ran out of money. Like, not that they ran out of money, but they didn't want to spend any more money. It's like at a certain point, you have to be fiscally responsible and go, okay, we spent $380 million. I don't think we can spend any more. Like, a large portion of the budget that is public knowledge is actually also publicity, is getting it out there, commercials and whatnot,
Yeah.
advertisement, or marketing is the better term. So yeah, like, they spent gobs and gobs of money. Like, everywhere you go right now, you can't go 2 feet. You can't throw a stone without hitting an Avengers ad somewhere in town. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's why he's not in the final fight. An accurate review. Thank you, Harsh Karuna. Charles Denicon. Who should make you ruler? Who decides who should die and who should live? That's not what Thanos says. He doesn't decide anything. He let fate does its work. That's what's interesting with him. No discrimination. So
it's just random.
He's responding to when I said in the review, like, I hate that he's right. That was my emotional response because even though I wouldn't ever make the move he does, like, I get why he did it. And then Courtney comes back in and starts talking about how, who is he to decide who gets to live and who dies, right? And he's saying like Thanos isn't deciding shit. It's all just arbitrary. It's all very random.
Except he doesn't kill himself. Ha.
He would. I think Thanos would kill himself if it came to it. Like
for the greater good.
For the greater good. Like he totally would. S. Charles Denikin also says Stark has always had a paternal bond with Spider-Man. Hasn't always had a paternal bond with Spider-Man. You can't say always when they've only had, like 5 minutes of screen time together in only one very weak movie. At best, Stark started having some kind of paternal bond near the end of the movie, and I didn't find it particularly touching, maybe because Peter Parker was too busy making systematic jokes all the fucking time. To me, he was one of the weak links in AIW with Black Widow. Poor Scarlett Johansson.
Well, I think about that, Spider-Man's feeling towards Iron Man has always been like that Iron Man was like a father figure to him. Now, maybe Tony Stark didn't reciprocate that feeling, but it was always there coming from Peter Parker. And then towards the end, I think that's when we had that kind of switch where we did kind of feel more of that paternal feeling from Tony Stark. Like, he always felt responsible for him. Like, even when he was in the spaceship or whatever, that flying donut they were in, and he's like, what are you doing here? You know, like, you shouldn't be here. You're a kid. And so, you know, I think he does have a certain sense of responsibility towards Peter Parker. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just checking the quality of the stream to make sure everything's cool, but it says it's okay, which is a little bit annoying.
Apparently volume is still an issue.
Oh, it's still an issue?
Yeah.
Okay. Who said it's still an issue?
Just towards the bottom.
Okay. So it says it's really low. Okay. All right, here. You answer this question.
Which one?
Rafe 8, totally agree with Peter Dinklage.
His character was too much of a Game of Thrones feel.
I'm gonna try to fix
After repeated viewings, he's still Tyrion, so his scenes were a bit jarring. They could have fixed it somehow if his costume was more profound, and leaving his hair like that didn't help. The CGI throughout was on point, except for two. First is the Children of Thanos CGI were a bit wonky, yeah. Sometimes, but Squidward was convincing. Woo! I'm not the only one who calls him Squidward. Second, Mark Ruffalo in the Hulk Iron Suit was really bad whenever he poked his head out. Yeah, I mean, if you guys have watched our reactions, or if you've seen Aldo Jones's weird trailers, and he actually has Mark Ruffalo's head in the Hulkbuster, it was about the same level. As for Peter Dinklage, yeah, he totally just was Tyrion in the movie. Now, I don't know if that's because we're so used to seeing him as Tyrion that we just make that assumption when we see him, and he's doing the same voice, and he's kind of got a costume that is maybe almost reminiscent of looking like it could be medieval, even though it's not. Like, yeah. It was such a short scene as well, like the amount of time that we see him in. So, you know, maybe he didn't really have a chance to do much with it, and it could have been that the director was like, no, we like you like Tyrion, so can you just do Tyrion? You know, because that happens. You become known for doing one thing.
How's the volume now? Like, oh shit, it's like, I'm sure it's really loud. Let me fix that. Test. Is the volume too loud now? Wow, the volume went up suddenly. Sorry, okay, I'm trying to find a happy medium here. How's that? Is it...
Poor butt crack. Blasted his ears.
Yeah, I was afraid that was going to happen. I tried, basically we have a microphone here, and there's like this intermedium, it's like a switch that takes this microphone into the computer, and I just tried to raise the volume just a little bit. And I'm like, I don't want to blow out their ears. I'm just trying to, and it's like this thing that just goes, whoop, it just shoots up. And I'm like, okay, so hopefully that's okay now.
Infinity volume.
I'm sorry. I apologize if I hurt your ears, anybody. I didn't mean to. I was trying really hard to be careful with it.
MJ says volume.
Okay, so hopefully the volume's perfect where it's at now. If it's not, just let us know.
Okay.
So you went over this paternal bond. You went over. Okay, so I want to comment on the Peter Dinklage thing real quick. You kind of mentioned it. You mentioned it after we shot our review. It was just a bit much. He's like, that if you do this wrong, you're going to die. And then he goes, not if it doesn't kill me. That's what I mean by dying. And while that was a funny line, it's just like it was like he was trying to talk into his throat. And I would just imagine that Peter Dinklage doesn't have a lot of experience with changing the pitch of his voice. He's able to change his accent
Yes.
from American to English or whatever.
Pseudo English.
Pseudo English, yeah, Peter Dinklage English.
Yes.
It works. Like it's got a I don't know, it's panache.
It's got an interesting cadence.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, as far as pitch goes, though, he doesn't have a lot of experience with that, from what I can tell. And he's a bankable guy. He's a very fun surprise. So they had to go with him, but I don't think they gave him a whole lot of time to, to figure out that character. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So let's see. Lakshmi, but not that many people are complaining about him. So we are far and few between in terms of people who are complaining about him. Lakshmi Basu, throughout the movie, I was like, Doctor Strange, please use the stone and bring back Loki and send this monster to an infinite time loop. Loki was my favorite of all, and he was the first to go. So
Yeah.
I was wondering the same thing, because they were able to send the God of Mischief into a time loop of having him drop forever, right?
Yeah.
Until Doctor Strange says otherwise. I was wondering why they couldn't drop Thanos into something similar. I guess because of the Reality Stone. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's some kind of thing where they figured it out. But yeah, I was wondering that myself.
Oh, MJ Lakshmi Narayanan says, my theory, do you think in part 2 there will be a bigger threat to wipe out the universe in whole, which will push Thanos to reverse reality and join the Avengers?
Hold on, I started getting stressed out about the volume again, and I was checking for comments about volume. So say that one more time.
So it says, do you think in part 2 there will be a bigger threat to wipe out the universe in whole, which will push Thanos to reverse I've lost it now. But reverse the whole thing and bring back everyone. So they have to join forces to wipe out a bigger threat. I mean, I think that is a nice idea.
Okay.
But I think that Thanos is still going to be the big bad baddie that they have to defeat.
Okay, so Rafe 8 says, by the way, Wanda was explicitly instructed by Steve to stay behind with Vision to destroy the stone as soon as it was extracted. So her going against Steve's order watched the struggle she had as she contemplated to stay or to go to the field to save Koay and win Widow from the alien machines. The bad guys used the machines to lure her to the field so Vision has no protection and succeeded. Yeah. That's basically what happened. I mean, her friends were in trouble and she had to, I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I mean, she is like, let all your friends die or save him a bit.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, Marcario Santiago Jamarillo. Thanos, the person, could not beat up the Hulk. I'm hand to hand, but he had the Power Stone. That's why he took off his armor after he got the Power Stone, and he was walking around, a t-shirt. So that's why he was much stronger than the Hulk. And also Vision, beginning when he was with Wanda, he got stabbed by one of their blades, and if you listen to what he's saying, he got stabbed and he couldn't use his powers. I saw it twice. I heard him say that. I just didn't like that. I personally just didn't like that as a plot device or a move. It's like, why does this disable his powers just because? Because movie says so, it disables his ability to use this stone. And that just kind of annoyed me. I'm not where was this acquired? How did they create that blade? Was it Thanos that created that blade using one of the other stones? So one stone can affect the power of another stone like that? It can cancel the other ones out? What? I need you to break this down for me. I know that's a little bit of explaining how a ray gun works, but I still need a little bit more explanation than what you're giving me here. Just because he got stabbed with this blade, suddenly he can't do anything. It didn't work for me. I did not like that explanation whatsoever. And maybe I'm just being a curmudgeon about it, but I thought they could have done a better job handling that.
Yeah.
So it could have been that maybe I don't know. There could have been any number of ways.
She was healing him as well.
That's the other thing that was confusing to me.
She was knitting his stab wound back together. So
with all the tech, instead of taking that time to try to extract the stone out of him, maybe they should have been using the Wakanda tech to fix his wound so he's not broken anymore.
Yeah. So Raphael Nelson says that Vision was taken out earlier due to Corvus Glaive's spear. It breaks down things on an atomic level and it stopped Vision from self-repairing and phasing. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Well, the Wakanda tech should have been able to fix him so that he could, so they could undo that. But thank you for that explanation, Raphael Nelson. Rough 8, watched it a few times. Did I already read that? I must have read that already. Okay, I read that already. Narcissist species. The duel between Thanos and Doctor Strange was wow. Expecting to see more Mystic duels in Avengers 4. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's gonna be bigger though. Like I don't know if that's gonna be a bigger movie. It feels like this was almost like Kill Bill Volume 1, and Kill Bill Volume 2 is gonna be kind of like
The resolution.
the resolution, trying to restore
Yeah.
things, trying to bring things back. Like, yeah, I don't know, and maybe it's gonna be even bigger. But like this was the Infinity War, so.
Player Hunter says Hulk has infinite strength, though they haven't gone there so far in the movies. They seem to be depicting him as having a fixed strength, but I hope they touch on his infinite potential.
I like that they limit him, honestly.
Otherwise you get boring like Superman.
Yeah, well, that's
yeah.
exactly where my thoughts went. Is that it's better to give him some form of limitation because he's not interesting otherwise. The fact that there is this fear was an interesting thought to introduce, but they didn't give Bruce Banner an arc within Infinity
Yeah.
War. Maybe when Avengers 4 comes out, he'll have his arc where Hulk finally reemerges. But it would have been cool to see a nice little arc within Infinity War of him like struggling and not being able to summon Hulk, and then finally he does.
Yeah.
You know, and it shows Hulk having weaknesses is great. You need that. It's just, I think that it was not the most properly executed within Infinity War. But maybe after Part 4 comes out, it'll all like, you know, work itself out. Nerd Chronic, gunning Johnny Caged is an expression I use for when a character is unceremoniously killed in the beginning of a film, and I definitely applied that to Loki here. Cool. I'm glad that, you know, we have that in common, Nerd Chronic. So, Hikari94, about Vision, I think love is definitely affecting his focus and thus his ability to fight. In Captain America Civil War, when he accidentally hit War Machine with his beam, the moment right before he was having his first emotional moment with Scarlet Witch in his arms. When Tony asked him how it was even possible that he had missed, he answered he had no idea. Remember, Vision is a machine, so everything he did while fighting was emotionless computer calculation. So when human feelings come in, the time he figures them out, he loses focus.
Yeah.
Hulk was useless.
Ira Misra says, so when Thor attacked Thanos, he said that he should have gone for the head and not his chest. So the next time, and I hope they go for his head and get those damn Infinity Stones.
They will.
Yes.
They will go for his head next time. France Nicholas Vadakut. Hulk got scared. I found that reason valid as Hulk really got scared when he fought Thanos.
Yeah, well, also Hulk is very childlike. So if you imagine like you're a 5-year-old and you think you're hot shit, and then you suddenly realize you're not, you're gonna not want to play in the playground for a little while.
Preksha Panchagnula. I feel Doctor Strange could have used his time stone and saved Tony rather than giving it to Thanos. I thought about that as well, but the thing is, they established within those fight scenes that Doctor Strange tried to use his magic on Thanos, and Thanos broke right through it. That's number one. Number two, Doctor Strange saw the millions of different outcomes and discovered in his search, looking through all the different potential futures, that giving him the stone was the only way forward.
Bulma Vegeta says, well, my theory, I think Thanos will bring back Gamora and use the Mind Stone to make her on his side.
Kilati, Doctor Strange was the best. He was going with his own plan. Did that require a response? I'm sorry. Or were you just saying?
Up to you. I'm just sharing.
Doctor Strange was the best. He was going with his own plan. I bet that ending he planned was the ending. Maybe this was the only way to realize Thanos what's wrong he is doing. Okay.
What?
I tried to. It was broken English, and I tried to I tried to sort it out on the fly, and I didn't do a very good job. He's just saying that Doctor Strange knew what he was doing, essentially.
Yeah, totally.
We all can agree with that. Rakshith Potluri, spoiler alert, you do make some valid points, but I do feel, is this long? I do feel like Star-Lord's getting some unnecessary hate. If I recall the scene, Doctor Strange doesn't try stopping Star-Lord while he vents out his anger. My assumption is that the only way they can win at the end is if and only if Star-Lord behaves that particular way. We do know that Doctor Strange tried all possibilities. You're right.
Yes.
That is correct.
It's still frustrating, though.
Yes, it is still very frustrating. Rakesh Hari, Vision does mention he was unable to phase it. Okay. Rahul Roy, stop talking about fucking Wonder Woman, all right. Look, that was a good movie. Whether you are a DC fan or not, that was a damn good movie. And so it's worth introducing that into the conversation in order to make my point. Just like I did earlier today with the Ant-Man trailer review where I talked about Adam. It's worth talking about these other things in a friendly way in order to make our points. Prince Roy, it was the only way. I don't feel good, Mr. Stark. These lines choked me up.
Yeah.
It was the only way, didn't really choke me up, but I don't feel good, Mr. Stark did get to me. It was one of those things where like you could break it down. It was almost mathematical. Like this is going to be an emotional trigger,
Oh yeah.
and yet it still worked.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
I love being triggered emotionally.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Jaby always rhymes with me word by word. Okay, cool. Sharik Khan.
Ayush Vaya says, "What was the last scene with Baby Gamora after he snapped his fingers?"
Wait, say one more time.
What was the last scene with Baby Gamora when he snapped his fingers? Like he entered into an alternate realm or something, right?
That to me, if you guys have watched or read Harry Potter, that to me was the equivalent of Harry talking to Dumbledore right before the climax or right at the climax. Do you remember that sequence when Harry goes, "Am I dead? Is this or is this a dream?" And he goes, "What difference does it make?"
Right.
Like it was that kind of sequence where Thanos is essentially talking to the one person that he loves more than anyone in the world, like his heart and soul. Like it could be a dream. It could be that he's talking to her like soul. Like there are these what do you call it? Psychological ideas that you don't age beyond a certain point. Maybe she never grew up like mentally beyond that point. Like that's when she became a warrior, and so that's that's where she stayed.
I think that's because in his mind, she is his baby.
Okay, that's a better theory.
So the way he looks
like
at
that.
her is like his child
Yes.
always. I mean, my dad says that about me.
Yes.
He's always like,
No, I agree with that. That's much better than what I was trying to like. I was trying to make it sound Freudian and.
oh, yeah, no, the other way.
Carl Jung.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Yeah, okay, I was going too big. Yeah, so yes, I agree with you. Just like when I think of Greg Alba, my brother, I don't think of the Greg you guys know when you look at him on The Real Rejects. I think of baby Gregory. It's really bizarre, Okay, so anyway. To Mr. G29, you have a new channel. Why posting the same videos on them? So, firstly, the videos were slightly different. The one on the Jaby Koay channel is actually shorter. I cut out some things that I thought that audience wouldn't care about. And that audience loves the Marvel films. And so sometimes I put that kind of content on both channels because, they are not subscribed to Get Jaby. And, like, why should they have to subscribe to Get Jaby? So, like, I can just put that video in both places. So, Civil Nation 7. Teenage Groot does nothing in the entire movie and then does something and he has an arc. Laughing my ass off. That is an arc.
Yeah.
That is literally an arc. You described an arc. Like, if a character is one way and then is a different way, that's an arc. It can be that simple. It can be binary like that. It's obviously nicer when it's a smoother thing, but, it's almost like the same with Darth Vader, where Darth Vader was bad through the original trilogy, and then he sees what's happening to Luke, and he's like, well, I gotta save his ass. And then he tosses the Empire over the side of into that thing.
We should do one more question because we should go.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Lakshya Nidhi. I just have one problem. Why did Thor show up on Earth and not on Titan? He knew that Thanos was going to nowhere, but he didn't think he should go to Titan. Thanos didn't have the time stone by that time, and if any kind of signal would have been given to him, it would have been from the Guardians to Rocket or Groot. So how the fuck did he decide to go to Earth when he didn't even know there was a fight going on there? I didn't even think about that.
My brain just exploded with that question.
I didn't even think about that, to be perfectly honest. I was so caught up in the film emotionally. That's some sharp refrigerator logic.
Yeah, that is. But like him showing up on Earth in Wakanda when he did and how he did was just so moment. Cool and dramatic. It was like, yes,
yeah,
he's here.
That was a very well played moment. Like, yeah, he should have shown up on Titan, but when he showed up on Earth, the theater lost its shit. It was pretty well timed, in my opinion, from a dramatic standpoint.
Manish Hembram says 10 years of Marvel, 19 movies. What are your favorites? Or what is your favorite? Or are your favorites?
Oh gosh, I can't tell you all of them off the top of my head, but I love Doctor Strange. I love Black Panther. I love Ant-Man.
Avengers.
Obviously Avengers, the first one. Civil War is a great one. I know that everyone wants us to say Captain America.
You said Black Panther already, right?
Yeah, everyone wants us to say Captain America, Winter Soldier.
I didn't like that.
I'm in. We are the outliers. Is it outliers or outliers?
Outliers.
We're the outliers there, where it's like I appreciate the film and I want to watch it again, but I remember not loving it when I first saw it. I can appreciate it from a technical standpoint, but I need to watch it again, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying that because that's for a lot of people, that is the best. That is their favorite, and I respect that opinion. I just don't necessarily share it. So, let's see.
Oh, here, or another question. I know I was like, we should end, but Anurag Tyagi says, hello, Jaby and Shara, really like your reviews and vids. Wanted to ask which scene you geeked most in the movie and which death shocked you most. I can tell you which death shocked me most. T'Challa. I was literally like, when I realized it was Black Panther, I was like, no! I did just like do that in the theater.
Yeah, me too. Black Panther. That shocked me. That shocked me deeply.
Yeah.
I thought that Spider-Man was gonna go. It still affected me emotionally, but I did think he was gonna go because I was thinking something in the broader scheme of things, like Miles Morales can show up or something. I don't know. But that being said, the part where I geeked out the most, gosh, where did I geek out? I geeked out with Doctor Strange, and when he turned into the multiple Doctor Strange, when the bad dude whose name I still don't know because I'm an asshole. you keep calling him Wormwood or something. Squidward. When he was doing his stuff and they was fighting Doctor Strange, I thought all that stuff, that first fight in New York was pretty damn cool. I geeked out when Thor showed up with the axe and was just like doing some Cole McGrath type shit.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Cole McGrath is, that's from Infamous.
I loved the scene where Thor and the Guardians meet up for the first time. That was one of my favorite scenes.
Oh,
in the movie.
I liked
that
when
was brilliant.
I liked when Thor goes, "This is my friend Tree," and he goes, "I am Groot," and he goes, "I am Steve Rogers." There was something just like cute about that.
Yeah,
that was cool.
That was very cute. Here's a good reason. God, DK, I've lost it. Oh, here we go. Why did Thor go to Earth? Easy. His new weapon can open the Bifrost, right? What is the Bifrost? A path to the worlds within Yggdrasil. Titan is not a part of it. That makes sense. Yes.
Did you read that already?
No. In Age of Ultron...
Nikhil Roshan, thank you.
Thank you. In Age of Ultron, Cap told Tony that he could have saved them all. Maybe Strange saw the same future where Tony wins. That is why he saved them.
Yeah. Oh, what? In Age of Ultron, Cap told that he could save them all.
He could have saved them all. Maybe Strange saw the same future where Tony wins.
Okay. I have to watch Age of Ultron again because I don't remember that. So Avish Panwar says, I have to say this review is pretty bad. This is a pretty bad review. Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. It's interesting. Like, it's not on the burden of the audience to know this, but like I spent all day trimming that review down to make it as entertaining as possible and still convey interesting information. Like it was a 40-minute discussion, and trimming that down and making it interesting and fine tuning that. It takes a considerable amount of time. And so when someone just kind of writes it off with, I have to say this is a pretty bad review, I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, I can't.
That's our opinion.
That's your opinion. You're allowed to have it. I have nothing I can say back to that other than I don't agree with you, obviously. Sarkar Pliush, you're not a big comic book beef dude. You don't have an in-depth knowledge. No, but I can still have an opinion based off the cinematic universe, off the films. Like I guess I still have an emotional response to it. I've been watching the movies from the beginning. The only one that I pretty much watch all of them. Yeah. So like I can form an opinion based on that. Just because I don't read the comics doesn't mean I don't have a thought. So like if you're gonna be all aristocratic like that, then don't watch my reviews on the comic book films.
But I think that's what's really good about Marvel is that they kind of make it accessible to both audiences. So people who only watch the movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe can kind of, feel like they know things and get involved, and it is all part of the movies. And then they add things for the comic book buffs as well. So like when Courtney was there, she was super excited when Captain Marvel showed up on the pager, and she knew exactly who that was, and Red Skull and blah blah blah. Yeah. So it's got a little bit of everything for everyone, and I think that's why it's great.
This might be the last one we do. Nilansh Pandi, Jaby Koay was a spoilers review. You should have talked more about the post-credit scene. Where does it leave for the second part, and what and who all Adam Warlock, Captain Marvel, should we expect it to be in the second part? For me, Infinity War Gauntlet is incomplete without Adam Warlock. He had such a central role in the Gauntlet series in the comics. I didn't touch on that too much, to be perfectly honest, because I'm not informed. I haven't read the comics. Captain Marvel, like, I had to turn to Courtney in the theater and go, why is everyone excited about the little pager? Because I honestly didn't know what was going on. I don't go out of my way to read anything about these films beforehand. I haven't read all the comics. I started, but there's so much there. It's like there's no way I'm going to catch up in time while doing what I do full time. So I apologize to Nilansh and anyone else who felt frustrated that I wasn't able to address that. I just didn't feel like I had enough foreknowledge in order to make a accurate review of that part of the film. But I was excited for everyone else being excited because everyone was like losing their mind. I'm like, wait, I want to be excited. What happened?
What's going on? Who is this?
Yeah.
I'm excited now.
Okay, last question.
Well, there's two. How did you feel about the race between Black Panther and Captain America?
Oh, that was cool. I mean, I would have liked it if it was a little bit more dragged out. Go ahead.
Just for a reminder, Cap told that to Tony when Wanda put a spell on Tony at the first few minutes and Tony sees everyone dead. What? What is this pertaining to? Cap told that to Tony when Wanda put a spell on Tony at the first few
there was some kind of dream sequence or something. I can't remember exactly where that shows up. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But I remember Tony did have some kind of vision of seeing that, or I forget where that shows up. Maybe it's in Age of Ultron where that happens.
Oh.
But just want to say quickly, thank you to Another View and to Nikhil Roshan for contributing. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Get Jaby on both of those. ACHARA, KIRK on both of those. You guys, thanks so much. Love y'all. Peace out. Quickly end.
Oh, good.